Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And I need to change out that chord, but I can't do it right now. Let's get this music out of here real fast. It is Tuesday night, and as usual, I will be on with Mayor Frank McClary. There we go. But before we get into that, I have two guests invited. I see one that's already there. How you doing, Miss Marilyn? And that's Miss Marilyn Hemingway from. She's the Democratic chair of Georgetown County. And what's crazy is I just watched a podcast from Georgetown County with the young lady over the election board, and she was. I wrote down some notes, so I'll be. I thought that was good to get some information on. But I'm waiting for the Democratic chair for Williamsburg County to come on. Seeing as Andrew shares that border right there with Williamsburg County. But we'll get into that here in about 7 minutes. Couple of things that I wanted to share with you guys right here. And last night I was talking about this, but I had the dates mixed up. I was saying this weekend. The Girl Scouts are actually going to be going on a bike ride this weekend, and I think I'm going to join them. But this event is taking place Saturday, April 20th at 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. And the location will be at Blues. You know where Blues at? And that's right on the corner of Beach and Main Street in Andrews, South Carolina. And it's be a fish fry fundraiser for Troop 2913. So for more information, please contact 719 465-9194. That is a Colorado number. Ask me how I know. But that number belongs to the troop leader, Miss Vermel Frazier. Make sure you give her a call. I think they're still looking for volunteers. If you want to help, just reach out to Miss Vermel. Let me get my little speech thing together here. What else we got? I got something else new. On Thursday, this will be a big part of me and the mayor's discussion tonight, the capital project sales tax. But the capital project sales tax committee meetings, there's going to be a meeting this Thursday in Andrews, South Carolina, and they're going to be talking about the projects that Andrews, the town council, voted on, and a little bit more, but we'll get into that later on tonight. Also, I just saw this on Andrews's Facebook page, and this is AHS Blood Drive. I'm just getting this. It's cold read. Tuesday, April 16th, 2024 at 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Andrews High School. And it's going to be a blood drive. The American Red Cross, of course. Donors needed. Spring into action. You can schedule now. Let's see. Please make an appointment. And there's a QR code. So you can find this on Facebook somewhere, or you can get somebody else's phone right now while you're watching this and scan the QR code on the screen. And or go to redcrossblood.org, redcrossblood, one word, .org, and enter sponsor code Andrews HS. That's sponsor code Andrews HS. And do your part and donate blood. Okay, let's see. I did send, so Miss Wilson, I did send a link to your messenger if you happen to be watching and you're like, oh, you got the link. But what else do we have here? Also coming up upon us real soon, the Riding Divas of Andrews. They're going to be having their first annual parade and community fun day, 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. Parade is going to take place. The lineup is going to start at 11 a.m. at Food Lion, and the parade is going to follow the traditional route that it normally follows in Andrews. Parade is going to start at 12. For more information about this event, or if you'd like to be a vendor, I see the charge there is $75, which is a reasonable price to vend at an event that's going to be it's going to have a lot of people there. Please call 843-925-1160. That's 843-925-1160. This is Real Talk Tuesday. This is Welcome to Andrews the Podcast. One more here, and that's the Built Autism Tough. This is the Autism Walk that's going to take place April 13th in Andrews. It's gonna the parade walk is going to start in front of Town Hall, and we're going to make our way around to the gazebo where last year they had the game truck. They had a bunch of food vendors. It was an awesome event. And so tomorrow I'll have Miss Andrea Cooper on. We're gonna do a promo, and she's gonna give you some more information and update you on what's going on. But if you want to get in contact with her, if you want to be a vendor at this event, if your organization wants to come out and bring information, please give her a call, 843-344-8859. That's 843-344-8859. All right. Let's see what we got there. And one more here. And we'll talk to Ms. Marilyn Hemingway from Ms. Marilyn does a lot of things. All right, let's start there. Okay. But in the role that she's going to be talking to us tonight is going to be about the Democratic Party in Georgetown County. And she's going to have to talk to us about the Gullah Geechee Chamber of Commerce, because that's how I met her. That's how I got to know her. But right after this, she'll be up.
Are you tired of dealing with pesky cockroaches in your home or office? Look no further than our $200 German cockroach treatment. Our program is eco-friendly, safe for both children and adults, and will quickly eliminate any cockroaches present. Plus, our fast, effective service ensures that your property will be clean and free of any mess left behind. Don't wait until it's too late. Contact us today and enjoy a cockroach-free home or office.
Yes. And there she is, Miss Marilyn Hemingway. How are you, Miss Marilyn? Welcome to Andrews the Podcast.
Hi, how are you? Can you hear me?
I can hear you good. Very well.
Good. Thank you. Very good. I've been acting up earlier. Thank you for having me here. Delighted to be here.
Thank you for coming on. So let's get right into it. Ms. Marilyn, you are now tell me the official title for your role, because I've probably been butchering it the whole time. But tell me the official title of the new role you have in the Democratic Party in Georgetown County.
Chair of the Georgetown County Democratic Party.
Okay. And so what is your job as in that role?
I make sure that the work of the party gets done, which is recruiting candidates for office, running campaigns that support them to victory, and making sure that the Democratic National Committee's platform, which we all play a part in forming, that we keep that platform reflective of the needs of the people and make it happen. And that platform has planks, and the planks are a nice word for topics and issues that we believe in. And that's what I do. So I can't say that we run the daily operations of the party, because we don't run daily operations, but we make sure the work of the party gets done. That's what I do in my role.
All right. And I'm gonna ask you this a couple different times. What is a number that folks want to volunteer? They want to get registered.
Learn more about the party, where we stand, and the work
there we go.
doing. Yeah, I have a phone number, 854
Okay, give me 1 second here.
Mm-hmm.
All right, because I'm gonna put it on the screen here while we're talking. 854.
855
855.
0108.
Okay. 0108, and that's the DNC chair phone number.
That is the
Or
Georgetown County Democratic Party
okay,
phone
okay,
number. Yeah, that's
okay,
the local phone number to reach the local Democratic Party, the Georgetown County Democratic Party.
okay.
And
Gotcha.
I hope my fellow cohort Williamsburg chair can join us tonight.
Yeah, that's
Sending
I
out good vibes.
my booking skills are not they kind of lacking, but I think she's let's see. All right, that's the number to the Democratic
It'll
Party,
work out the
and
way it's supposed to work out.
there you go. All right, so I was telling you, I was saying earlier that I was listening to the young lady from the elections um office, and she was telling us about some key dates. The date of June 11th. That's the date of the primary. Um, so when is the cutoff date for people to be able to vote in the primary?
30 days before,
30 days before.
you
So
have to register the vote. So Tuesday, June 11th is primary day,
okay,
and I am pretty sure it's 30 days before that
it
you
is. It is. That's
must
what I'm
register
trying to figure out
before that
that
day. And
exact date.
then of course the day after it immediately reopens. And then you have until 30 days before the November general election to get registered to vote.
Okay. So if you missed the primary, you still can vote in the general.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay. 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 Um all right. I got
Primary
that.
is not a requirement to vote in the general. The primary is where the parties, people who select the parties in South Carolina, because South Carolina, you do not have to register by party. When you go to your primary, they will ask you, do you want a Democratic ballot or a Republican ballot? And of course, I hope you select Democrat, but you select the ballot party that you want and you vote, because the primary is where the party members or people who believe in that party go to vote to select their slate of candidates that are going to run for the general election in November. In the general election, everybody gets the same ballot. It may be different depending on what single member district you live in, but you have the same general ballot and you can vote across party lines in the general.
Gotcha. Um she also brought up there'll be early voting, and this early
Yes.
voting starts May 28th through June 7th.
Yes.
She also said this, and this caught my attention. She said no weekends. So I guess in that period there'll be no weekend voting, and the time is going to be from 8:30 to 5 p.m.
The hours of
Yep. Okay.
the office opens,
The
and yeah, and the weekend, that is, I'm pretty sure it's by county. They decide if they want to open on weekends. So yeah, that sounds about normal.
So, do you have what is your? I mean, you took this position. So, what is your vision for the Democratic Party moving forward in Georgetown County? What do you see the for the future of the party of the Democrats
Well, I
in
believe that I
Georgetown County?
took this role because I believe that the people, all the people in the United States who are eligible to
Did
vote,
did I lose her?
have a right to
Oh,
a healthy two-party system. Can you hear me?
mhm. Yes, I can. And so for
Okay.
the viewers, if this is chopping, I'm recording it locally. So I'll play it back if any part of this is when I look at the live, if it's chopped up, I'm going to chop it out and have it as its own segment. But
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I believe that we need to have a healthy two-party system, which means that the party is needs to present its stance on the issues such as affordable housing. Some people, there are different terms for that, but for this purposes, affordable housing, uh, living wage, education, voting rights, reproductive rights, and so on. Um, People deserve to hear where we stand on those issues.
Okay. A question. So if I apologize because I wasn't prepared. It's coming to me as a, but I'm thinking about a child that will be. What is the criteria for a young person 17 going into the 18? So they'll be 18, before the election. How does that work? When that,
When can you register to vote?
yes, as a
So
17.
18 is the age that you can vote.
Okay.
So listen to what I say. 18 is
All
when
right.
you can vote.
Okay.
You can register to vote at the age of 17 if you turn 18 before the
That's the
election.
question. That's the question.
Yeah, and it does. If you turn 18 before the prime, you're 17 right now, and you're going to turn
Mhm.
18 between now and the
The
cutoff
primary
date, 30 days before the
June.
primary. You can
Gotcha.
register now as long as you turn 18 before the primary.
All
If
right.
you are 17 now and you turn 18 before November, you can go ahead and get registered. You can register now. But if you turn 18 after June 11th, you can't vote. But you can get registered, and if you turn 18 before November, you can vote. So you can vote at 18, but you can register it's at 17 if you turn 18 before the next election. And in this
There
case,
you
it's the
go.
primary.
There you go. There you go.
Mhm.
Okay. I didn't deliver the question, but you delivered the answer.
I've heard it before. So
So, okay, guys, on the bottom of the screen, scrolling on the bottom of the screen is the number to the Democratic Party in Georgetown County, and that's 854-855-0108. Do you have any also I was listening to the lady, the elections, what's her name? Is Afra?
Afra Macri.
Okay, Miss McCree.
Hmm.
Um, and she was saying that the the county is going to have, she said, two events. She got one date where I think they're going to have an example of a machine because apparently, some people when they get to the voting, get to vote, they don't know how to vote. And she also brought up the fact that in a general election with a presidential election, you have a lot of people who didn't vote, you know 12 years, 8 years, they'll be
Hmm.
coming out. So they're going to have this event to get people familiar with the machines, I guess, to make the process smoother. Is there any events like that the Democratic Party is going to be holding, that you want to talk about?
We are going to have a candidates forum prior to the primary. We just had our first meeting last night after I became elected chair. So I was elected
Okay.
March 9th, and our first monthly meeting was last night. One of the things so we're doing a lot of reorganizing. So let's
Hmm.
just be honest. The Democratic Party, we're doing a lot of reorganizing. One of the reasons I people probably elected me because of my experience being chair previously in another county, and also the many campaigns that I have run on many levels. We will have a candidate forum where folks can come and listen to our candidates prior to the primary and learn. They'll have informational tables and you can find out information.
Hmm.
Um, we do have plans to have events around the community because we want to go where the people are so that
Hmm.
people can share with us their concerns, comments, and suggestions. We love problem solvers and we want to help folks get to solutions regarding their issues. um, Not in particular will we be doing election type of work where you learn how to work the machines.
Hmm.
Miss McCree, I say Miss McCree, so I apologize right now. I don't know Miss McCree or Miss McCray, so please don't
Hmm.
be mad at me. We're going to let the professionals take care of that.
Hmm.
Um, and not get in their way. They're doing a good job of that, and they're doing it much more frequently. So that's excellent. So we're happy with that. We'll do anything to support and get the word out about it.
Mhm.
Also, but what I do, Marilyn Hemingway has chair, and previously in other roles that I've played, is I encourage people when they have poll clerk and poll manager training, go take that training. And
Yeah,
the
she,
reason,
yeah,
go ahead. Hmm.
because she, and I was going to ask you that because she was saying that they are they're paid positions that they have for these positions. And she was talking about the training. So but go ahead and finish your point.
Well, we like to say volunteer positions. They may say paid. You get some pay, but it's not like it's going to be,
A
it's
job
not going.
type
It's not
deal.
going to make you wealthy. Yeah, it's
I
it's a
understand.
couple of days training, then the actual day, and it's hard work. And I really respect poll clerks, poll managers, the poll workers. Um, but the reason I encourage folks to go get the training, even if you're not selected to actually work on election day, and you probably will be, because we always have a need for poll workers, is you learn so much about how the election process works.
Mm,
You understand how the machine works. You get a booklet that speaks about the laws, what determines what happens on election day. So it gives you an understanding about the election process. So even if you don't work, you're still going to learn about the process. And we cannot have too many people educated and knowledgeable about the process. So I encourage people to go and do that. I also encourage you to do it because we need poll workers. In particular, we need younger people to get involved with poll work. And I do encourage folks to do it because you do get paid. It's not volunteer in the sense you don't get any pay, but you do get a little money it's worth it, right?
it's worth it,
Financially.
and
Yeah.
and you
Mhm.
learn. I mean, because the knowledge that you're going to take from that, and be able to spread that knowledge in the community,
Exactly. Exactly.
firsthand
Exactly.
knowledge.
Yeah. And I've
Okay.
done it myself. I've done it myself. And I have been privy to information where this is probably about 20 years ago. I can't, yeah, and not quite 20 years ago, where I have worked the polls, and other poll workers have told people misinformation, and I reported it, and they were removed. It was important because I knew how the process worked. And that happens. It happens. You can do that not only as a poll worker, you can do it as a voter. If you understand the process and you see something that's amiss, you are taught how to report that. It certainly gives you more confidence and makes you comfortable in reporting things rather than just someone going in and voting. Of course, we all can't do that, take the training because it's limited seating. But if you can, I certainly encourage it, not just this year, but any year that you have the time to go through the process and become a poll worker. I highly encourage folks to do it.
No doubt. All right, and so we have joining us is the Democratic chair from Williamsburg County, Miss Moretta Wilson. How you doing, Miss Moretta?
I'm well. How are you guys doing?
Doing
Doing
good.
good.
Good to see my counterpart.
And same
Right,
here,
right
same
across
here.
right across the road.
Exactly, exactly. Nothing separates us but the county line.
There you go.
So we were talking. I don't know how much of our conversation you heard, but we were talking about some key dates. Are there any key dates or any events that you're going to be doing on the Williamsburg County side? Uh, like Miss Hemingway was saying that they're going to have a forum for the candidates. Are you going to do the same type of deal over in Williamsburg County?
We have not discussed the option of doing a forum. If we do so, it will be in May, mid to late May, before Memorial Day, if possible. We just had an executive committee meeting tonight to elect our county treasurer and secretary, as we're required to do for the state. But the one deadline that we are working on is reaching out to the high schools. The school district has been very supportive the last couple of cycles, and we want to do the same thing again of getting any high school student that will be 18 before June 11th and getting them signed up to vote. Like I said, the new superintendent, Mr. Wims, the prior superintendent, God rest his soul, Superintendent Wilder always supported the efforts of the party coming in to do that.
Okay, wow, that dovetails right into what we were just talking about. I fumbled a question, but that was the question: is when a 17-year-old can you register at 17 and then vote if you turn 17 before the cutoff date, which is all right. So the primary date is June 11th, and what is the official cutoff date before to be registered to vote in the primary?
30 days prior, May 11th.
Okay, May 11th. All right.
Mhm.
Now, and it's also key to now, I'm not saying this so that you skip out on the primary. Don't do that. What I'm saying is if something happens and you don't, but early voting is going to start May 28th through June 7th. But if you miss all of that, you're still able to vote in the general election. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
The primary is not a requirement. It's just where the party or those who support the platforms of the party have an opportunity to select their slate of candidates who will represent the party in November. But no, it doesn't. It's not a requirement. Anybody can vote. We have freedom of voting here. So yeah.
But you also want to encourage folks to turn out June 11th because a lot of times you have opponents in the specific primary races. So you want to make sure that that candidate, that strong candidate that you want to be on the ballot in November, you make sure
have to
they are
them
the
whole
person.
way.
Yep,
That's
exactly.
correct. That's
Exactly.
right. That's
Exactly.
right.
So get
So
them elected in June, guarantees them their seat in November on the ballot. If they have opposition on the Republican side, then they will battle it out there, and so on and so forth.
And that's my question to you, Ms. Wilson, in Williamsburg County. Do you have a lot of is there a large primary, head to head between Democratic candidates?
Yes. This year it seems like there are at least 2 county council seats that either have 2 or 3 individuals running. I believe there is opposition in 1 elected official's seat. And then for the most part, I think everybody else is okay. But those races are hard fought. It takes a lot of time, energy, and resources for those individuals to get the people to come out and support them.
All right, no doubt. So is there a number for Williamsburg County Democratic Party office so that people can contact from Williamsburg County?
Have number and an email address.
Okay, all right. You're gonna have to talk slow. No. All right, what's the phone number?
The phone number is 843
843
461 6317. Lighting went out.
7. All right, and that's I'll put the name. I'll go back and fix that up here. I'll add that. And
I'm sorry. What did I say? I'm sorry. 843 481. I said that wrong. 481.
Okay. All right. Let's get back in here, change this. And ladies, I really would, we could do this. Like I said, we don't have to do a lot of time, you know what I mean? Just 10 minutes once a month, you know what I mean, to come on and keep the people aware of what's going on. And I said to Ms. Marilyn jokingly, because the Democratic Party, but if we got to stay on it to reach these young people, because they got to become more civically aware and more civically involved.
Engaged. Yeah, I agree.
There's a lot of voter apathy out there, and a lot of folks feel like, why should I vote? They don't even know when voting is happening. Like you said, the young people, they don't know how it affects them on a local level. It hits you
local
locally
level.
It hits you there first. Those people that represent you in town council, those people that represent you county council, Then you move on up to your House of Representatives and your elected officials across the board. Your judges are elected by or selected by the General Assembly. So those people that are there in the State House decide who decides your fate when you go before a judge, depending on the type of case that you have. And a lot of times people end up in situations where they're fearful of who they might have representing them or judging their case, because this person wants to be reselected by this General Assembly. And if they ruffle somebody's feather, they may not necessarily do their due diligence in a court matter that is of significance. So it's a lot of things that tie into voting. It's very important.
And I love
very
that Dr. Wilson said that, because a lot of this is about knowledge and education about the party's platform, but also government and civics. How does government work? A lot of people are disengaged about how government actually works, and how it works impacts your life. And she just gave a very small part of that. And it's fascinating because it does impact our daily lives, especially on the local level, in state, federal, and so on. And then within all of that, the judges, even solicitors, also known as district attorneys. People may be more familiar with that term. Our solicitors are our district attorneys, and they are hugely, some may disagree with it, powerful in South Carolina.
It's majorly, our sheriffs are powerful.
The sheriffs are very powerful, and then the solicitors are very powerful. And it's very interesting because that's law enforcement, right?
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
Yeah. Hugely powerful in this state.
Okay. What's that email address, Ms. Wilson?
I inboxed it to you, so you wouldn't have to.
All right. Let's see.
And we have, I'm going to send you our email also.
Okay. And so, yeah, what I'll do is I'll add them in here shortly. But I wanted to bring on the elected official from the nonpartisan. See, we don't get into that in Andrews. You know what I'm saying? We nonpartisan. All right, let me find a frame that I can get you up here, sir. There you go. All right, how you doing there, sir? Oh, I caught him off guard, y'all. I caught him off guard.
Another surprise. I'm not surprised.
Oh, man.
How's it going?
All right, so going good. So I got the Democratic. Hey, man, welcome to Andrews the Podcast. First of all, let me come on, man. I feel like CNN and them boys right now. You know what I mean? Like, because hey, you know, my job is to bring information to the people, and there's no more better information than what we got going on right here. Both of these ladies spoke at the well, no, Ms. Marilyn was there. She did speak at the women's empowerment. You did say something, right?
I said something to your video.
Okay, yeah. Well, your presence just felt like when you walked in the room, it was like you was just talking to us or something.
Thank you. But, I appreciate that.
She does that.
But Mayor,
Marilyn, I know.
Anything you want to add, sir, to the conversation, you know, we had, you know, because I know you nonpartisan in Andrews, but you're a Democrat too. Now I'm gonna have to say that.
You think so?
I just
Hey, I think you have quite a few folks wondering about that, but they can rest assured I'm about taking care of people. So wherever that lands me on the issues, that's where I am, because it's about taking care of people. I listened on some of the conversation. It's obvious we just went through a very interesting campaign and voting period here just a few months ago. So when they express the importance of getting out and getting people registered and that stuff, and getting familiar with the issues at every level, you know, I can't emphasize that any more than these young ladies have. And so we got to get out and vote. Just do it, and then get involved on what's going on and watch the process. You know, and then pay attention to your elected officials, because they may be running on one issue, and then, you know, politics calls them to, you know, just to change to something else. So you got to kind of watch.
It might be voting on another thing. You don't know. You know what I mean? You never know.
Yeah, especially when you start to get above the municipality level, yet county and state and federal, their deals are being made, and they may not be again representing what they initially have expressed that they were going to run on. And so it's important. And I told someone the other day that I did not, as a kid, I wasn't paying attention to it coming up here in Andrews. And so I've learned a lot through my military career dealing at the federal level in here, but we want them to get involved now. So I would hope that there's, some level of the curriculum that gets back to that, and educate the kids not before they get in high school. I think it's important to start to be introduced to this early on. And I know they have the capacity to do it because we've got some young, bright minds out there, young teenagers that are very much involved in politics. And it can happen right here in Andrews or the Georgetown and Williamsburg County. So that's my thing on it, because if not, you'll put people in place just because you know them and, or, they're a nice person that did something for you. But that's not it. Get to know these people. Know that their concern and the level of effort they're going to put into it is going to represent the people and not a specific thing. Or, we see it right here. And I'm sure we'll get into some of that tonight, but get to know the people that you're putting in office and hold us all accountable, because it's us. Hold us accountable. And that's the facts of this whole political voting and getting involved in community activity. That's what it's all about. In my little humble opinion.
No doubt. So, ladies, I'm gonna give you the last word on this point right here. I'm gonna start with Ms. Marilyn. Anything you want to say again? The phone number for the Democratic Party in Georgetown County is scrolling across the bottom of the screen. But go ahead, Ms. Marilyn.
I first want to say I totally agree with the mayor, and it doesn't matter Democrat or Republican. I am a Democrat. Actually consider myself an independent Democrat, a free thinking Democrat, if you will. That's why I'm part of the party, is to make it better. With that said, doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or Republican, you need to get educated on the issues, and you need to hold your public elected officials accountable. In Georgetown, that's actually probably one of our problems. And as chair, I plan on holding our party elected officials accountable and push them to continuously put the people in the front of all of their decisions. And I can only do that with the help of the people. So you need to come get knowledge, get educated, and show up, because that makes a difference. And when I say show up, not just about voting, but getting engaged with your parties and understanding the issues so we could hold this democracy together from the local, state, and federal level. And thank you for having me tonight. And I'm looking forward to coming back and sharing more news and the work that we're doing here in Georgetown County.
No doubt. And we need to set up a Gullah Geechee Chamber of Commerce conversation also too.
Yeah, that has to be separate.
No doubt. All right, Ms. Wilson, you got the floor.
Okay. Before I get into some other points, just wanted to relay one other message. When Marilyn's talked about getting involved and understanding what's happening, a lot of parents are going to be disappointed this summer. You got that PEBT card last year to help offset some food costs, and children in and out throughout the summer, they're playing, their appetites are through the roof. You won't have that this year in the state of South Carolina. Our state is the only state that denied the funding. Our governor is the only governor that denied the funding to move forward with that. So I want people to understand that your choices do matter. You being aware of what's happening around you does matter. And a lot of times people will always say, and people hear me say this all the time, what are they doing? Well, it's your responsibility to know who they are. And they will also say, well, why don't they do something about it? You are the they that can do something about it. You can show up to your town council meetings. You can show up to your county council meetings. You can understand what's happening on whatever level that you are on if you so choose. But it's about wanting to do so and wanting to know, because a lot of people's favorite thing to do is to not know. My favorite statement to make is, I didn't know about that. I didn't know that this was happening. Well, why don't you know? And what are you going to do to know the next time you move around. So those are just some things to consider as you continue to make choices day to day and governing yourselves, regardless of what your party affiliation is, but understanding how you need to operate and function as an individual to make your community the best one that it can. Anyone can organize a voter registration drive. You do not have to wait on a party to do that for you. Anybody can do some type of community service cleanup. You do not have to wait on your municipality to do that for you. You are the driving force in creating the community that you want to see. And it all starts with you making the action and not pointing the finger and saying that that's what they do. No, that's what we all do.
No doubt. Quick question. Can you register to vote online?
Yes, sir. You
Yes,
go to
you can.
scvotes.org. Yes, sir. That is the
Okay.
easiest, simplest way to get it done. And you can check your voters registration locations at that area as well. A lot of people, well, I moved. Well, update your driver's license, because whatever that current driver's license states is what states matches your voter's registration card. A lot of people get frustrated on Voters Day for something that they did. Also, voter records have been purged. So if you have not voted in the last 2 elections, your name has been purged from the rolls. Go to the voters registrations office now to get that straightened out so that you don't have that frustration. Your precinct may have changed because lines have been redrawn after the last census. So these are all things that we just got to make sure we stay on top of. We got to pay our taxes. We know April 15th is arising. The federal government, IRS, has certain criteria, and we have to follow or we'll be penalized. It's the same thing on this side. There are protocols and procedures across the board.
All right. And there
Hey,
you
sir,
guys
just
had it.
one thing for the
Go ahead.
ladies, and not to answer it now, but again, we hear it at every level. We said hold us elected officials accountable. I think we need to have the conversation, the discussion. How do you hold us accountable? Not just waiting to the next election cycle. How do you actually do that? And a lot of it, what Ms. Wilson, both of you ladies just spoke to, is getting involved. But I think it really needs to be discussed. How do you do that?
Mhm.
You know,
It's-
and
good
so
point.
I just throw that out there. I think that has to happen. I've learned in my short 8 years that we're going to have to communicate with our population, our community, or whatever the case may be, probably in very different forms for everybody to understand what you're saying. Because some of us, we listen well, or it's through writing, or whatever the case may be. And it's the most challenging part of what we do. So we got to educate our folks on what that is, and I'm still figuring it out myself. And so when you hold yourself accountable first as an elected official, hold yourself accountable for the things that you're supposed to be doing for the people, regardless of whatever outside pressure you may be getting to support something else. What is it that the people in your district, town, what do they want? What do they need? A lot of them don't know what's necessary. A lot of us, we know there's an old system in Andrews, but we don't know what it takes to get it up to date. And so I've got to figure out how to better communicate that with it's still a population of my small town that doesn't understand it. That's first things first, is the foundation. So again, how do we hold elected officials accountable other than voting them out, going through the miserable 4 years and, throwing rocks at them or, whatever. How do you hold them accountable along the way? Get involved and then understand what it is that he or she or that body, the decisions they have to make that may not address what your immediate need are right now, but it address the bigger needs for the town or that, whatever body that you're responsible for. Those are the things that we all have to be able to explain, and they have to understand, because there's a big, in our case, there's a state that's holding us accountable for the public safety and all that stuff because we are owners of our water and sewer system. So we know that. How do you get it done? How do you hold us accountable? So I'll stop there. But
Well,
appreciate
you said
you all.
something very important, sir. You said, and how do they, and that they understand. Sometimes people don't want to understand. You can make it as plain as possible, line by line, and some people refuse because of who the message is coming from. So that's another thing too. We have to be very careful of the individuals that we're sharing that, who receives that message, because you can receive it all day. I can talk to you till I'm blue in the face. I can put the document in your hand, but some people just choose not to get on board, and those individuals are intentional in what they do.
And
So we have to
and
recognize
that's
that
yeah.
and eliminate them from the equation to move forward.
Yeah, and that's why I appreciate the town's focus on the youth and getting these kids involved. Because I'm not, I'm not very optimistic when it comes to. I get frustrated when I run into that type, but I find that these kids want to learn, they want to know, and they want to be involved. So we I'm resigned to prepare for the future. You know what I mean? Like investing in these younger folks. You know what I mean?
Right.
And we gotta get these other ones. You got to drag them across the line. But I think the bulk of our work, if you ask me, needs to be in teaching and understanding these kids. I mean, teaching these kids to have a healthy, respectful understanding of how government works and how it affects them and why they need to be involved.
I do want to add something. The mayor said we could answer it later, so I didn't know.
No,
I was
please
sitting
go
here
ahead.
listening, so I'll just go ahead and say
I'm just a guest, just like you guys are. So
I do believe that children need to be taught. I mean, and educated, and we talked about that earlier. But I think we need to be very realistic in that we're sending kids back into homes that defeat the purpose of the education.
Mm.
So we have got to figure out, yes, the kids are the future, but the average lifespan is 77 years. The current generations are still going to be here, and they're voting. And many of us of a certain age are not voting from a place of information. We're voting from misinformation. So we can educate the kids, which we should do, but we have got to figure out, how do we get these adults informed so they become, quite honestly, better voters, and that we're not sending kids who have been informed back into spaces where they get misinformed again. I think that's a crucial part that we're not really talking about, and we've got to talk about it so we can
Well,
address.
listen. You just we're gonna have this conversation, not tonight, but and
listen,
it needs to be had. It needs to be had
It really
because
does. It really
yeah,
does need to be had, because
because what you said is crucial. Because I mean, I can teach them all I want to teach them, but if they going back over there listening to that foolishness,
hey, now, so you guys will know who's on the other side here. I'm that guy, and I get accused of it all the time. I'm very optimistic. The glass is always half full. I spent, and I know it frustrates some of the employees and probably Jamal, because I believe that people can change, and now I don't believe that's 100%. I've learned that through my career, but I enjoy engaging those who whether they're pretending not to understand, don't want to. I'll sit down in front of them and we can, it's not that complicated. I'll lay it out for you. Now, if you choose not to do it, then we know, then we can't count on you. But so I won't count all of them out. I believe that I want to believe that deep down in your heart you want to do the right thing, regardless of where you fall into this age span from birth to 77, as Ms. Maryland is trying to lay it out. And hopefully they will realize that, this is for your community. You have to just put your selfish ways aside. Now they're going to expose themselves. Those that are selfish and want to do things their own way, they will expose themselves, and then then they will not be considered as valuable input at some point in time. But I believe in giving you a shot. I've cast out a few out of my life, my work path, because you're not moving in the course. You're rowing in the wrong direction. And so, but the thing is, my job is to make sure that this place, gets better, the quality of life for all, and that starts sometime in places they can't see and don't appreciate until it affects their home. But I understand the process, and
I agree with you, Mayor. I really do, and I actually don't say this from a place of a glass half full. I actually say it from a place of optimism, but we have to acknowledge it.
Yeah.
And if we don't acknowledge it, we can't solve that problem. So I love our youth, and I think sometimes we've got to educate the youth because it's easier to deal with the youth. And it's
Yeah.
harder to deal with adults who are set in their ways or come from a point of they don't know and they just being stubborn.
But those are the ones that can stop progress.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
am optimistic that enough can be informed and given education that they wake up and realize we all in this together. One thing I have learned through life, we all have one thing in common, and that's death. So we need to get over ourselves and figure out how we're going to live together on this earth. And so we all have hopefully long, healthy lives. You know, once you deal with the death part, everything else needs to fall into place. Everybody will not get that, but I'm optimistic that enough of us will get it. If we do, as elected officials and party officials, what we are responsible, because we should be held accountable also as party officials. If you take a leadership role in your community, period, you need to be held accountable. So all of us need to step up to the plate. So I come from a place of optimism that I truly believe that enough of us will get it at some point and we can move forward.
Hey, can y'all change, just get rid of the parties, please?
Mm-hmm.
Y'all work on that for us. Since y'all the head honchos.
You take that up with your federal government, sir.
Y'all just eliminate all that stuff and just
I'll work on that when you eliminate the electoral college first.
That can go too.
No, that should go first.
Yes.
First, and then the parties.
All that can go.
Yes.
I'm good with all that.
Because we can get real deep about that whole electoral college process and why it's in place, and only landowners and all this other stuff. I'm gonna leave that alone tonight. We're not gonna do that lesson.
Jamal said he gave us 10 minutes.
Yeah, we're not gonna do that lesson tonight. Because
I'm just prolonging the inevitable conversation.
But I agree. Civics needs to be, and it needs to be a local civics class. And it used to be something that was taken seriously at one point in time. But now it's relegated to a specific individual to teach it on a high school level, and it's not necessarily a serious course. So you have adults right now, you have kids who graduated high school and beyond who couldn't tell you what the 3 branches of government are. They couldn't even tell you what encompasses Congress. So we have a lot of work to do.
It's incumbent upon us in the communities to do this, because it's not going to be done. And like you said, ignorant electorate of base is dangerous. That's a dangerous.
Right. And if I read it on the internet, it must be true. And so here I am.
Let's shut down that. While y'all at it, fixing those things, let's get rid of social media. Please, I know y'all are powerful. Just get rid of social media too. All right. We can keep the podcast.
All right. So, all right, ladies, we're gonna pause that conversation. You know what I mean? And we'll definitely get back to that. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for coming on.
Thank
Marilyn,
you, sir, for the invitation.
Ms. Wilson.
Thank you.
Again, scrolling across the screen, guys, is the bottom of the screen is the Democratic Party number for Georgetown County, and that 843-481-6317 is the Williamsburg County Democratic Party office number. So use those numbers. All right. And I will
tell y'all candidates to come on the podcast.
No doubt. Yeah.
Well, we will.
But look, by way of Mayor McCleary, we will extend the invitation to Andrews, the podcast.
It's the best platform out there. If you want real talk, this is it.
But we will do that. If platform is available for them to come and speak, yes, sir.
No doubt.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, because I'm that clerk of court in Williamsburg County. You know what I mean? She's been doing a good job over there.
I
You
agree.
know what I mean? And I think they should keep on with that. So she'll be on here shortly.
good.
Actually, Miss Staggers will be on there. But anyway, guys, I appreciate you. Let's we're about to get into this gladiator business here right now. Trying to figure out. I need some answers right now. I need answers.
Well,
Okay.
y'all take care of
Thank
that.
you.
Let me get out of y'all
All
way.
right.
Have
No
a
doubt.
good
Y'all have a
evening.
good night.
Good night.
All right. All right. Whoa. Let me get my camera back on here. My camera. Where's my camera? Where's my camera? Oh, there's my camera. All right, sir. How are you?
Hey, I'm just peachy, man.
No doubt, man. You live in that office, man.
Well, I was at
$600.
home and I realized my computer was acting up, so I ran back over here so we can, do the show tonight.
No doubt, no doubt.
Otherwise,
Well,
yeah, 'cause I'm still trying to recover from that run.
man, I can see it. Let's change the background here. Let's go to Andrews on the background here. This is familiar right here. But so man, a lot of things. I'm not going to waste a lot of time talking about what our usual conversation, because we've been going already now for a good little while, and I want to get into Gab just released an article about the situation with Councilman Stamper and that whole situation Thursday, there's a capital project sales tax meeting in Andrews, South Carolina. What do you know about this meeting, as far as what could the people expect that's coming there?
I think they're going to conduct their meeting as they have been for the last couple of months. They have been circulating throughout the county to get input from the people on what they would like to, what projects they would like to see in their community. And they're at the point now, as you're presenting here, those projects were submitted, and with the closeout date, the 1st of April of this year. And so now they're going through to evaluate those things based on the criteria that they laid out, and see where they're rack and stack. And so that's why I'm paying very close attention to this, as I always have. I've traveled. I think I've only missed one of their meetings. As you know, we don't have a designated rep on that commission, so I served as that rep for the town in various places. So I'm pretty well versed with how they're doing business, and I gave and always have given this commission kudos for trying to get it right and being very transparent on the process. And so I think overall they've done a good job in that respect.
Do you remember and what I'm showing on the screen right now, guys, is the list of, it's about how many, 63 projects?
Something like, yes. Now
63 projects.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the initial list that it was presented that needed to be turned in by April 1st. And on this list, you can see here, the project name, the sponsoring entity, and the total cost of the project, right? And you got Big Dam, and that's Big Dam Water, Georgetown County Water and Sewer District. They serve Big Dam?
No, and I haven't looked at that project, but what it is that Georgetown County Water and Sewer District has responsibility for the unincorporated municipalities or
Okay. All right. And
so they would be, this is probably something they're exploring to get them drinking water, I'm assuming. I haven't looked at that. It's a $3 million project. Yeah.
I got you. And so the town submitted 5 projects per a unanimous vote from the council, correct?
Well, we submitted 4 of the 5. The last one, which was the Black River Connection part of that, we're seeking funding from other source. So that potentially frees up some money that could potentially go somewhere else. And we didn't want to overextend or to, again, we want to be good steward of these dollars and focus on the critical things that the town needs. So we found another source to go after the fifth project. And on that list, again, as you said, that was approved by council on the 21st of March. And those are what we entered into the portal on the 31st of March.
Okay. Now, I understand that at this point, you know, you haven't spoken with the council in regards to what Councilman Ulrich and the other firemen did in submitting their project, but I just want to give the people understanding from the meeting, the emergency meeting that we had the other day. If you would nah, you don't have to break it down. So what was the purpose of the meeting?
Well, I mean, and let me preface our conversation by saying, you know, these are the kind of things that divide a body, a family, or whatever when you're not on the same sheet of music. Okay, and that's where we find ourselves in this situation right here. What it is that, again, the council approved 5 projects, as you stated, and those were, as discussed along the way with that commission. You know, whatever Andrews come up with, it will go to the town council for a vote, and then that's what will be submitted through one source, and that's through the staff here. Everybody else's vote is if you're talking to council members or council members talking among themselves, whatever the case may be. Once you get all of that information collected, and the staff did this assessment based on the critical needs of the town, as we talked about a little earlier, or I mentioned a little earlier about having to focus on things that are critical that people may not see, and a lot of that is water and sewer. So, but the bottom line, the process is have all this discussion along the way, but once we submit this to the council, it's a done deal. And so we did that. We followed those procedures as outlined by the commission, and I found out this last week that there was an additional project with the town of Andrews on it, and I wasn't aware of that.
Okay, now you said you wasn't aware of that. Okay, per Gab News, right?
Mm-hmm.
You also mentioned that there was supposed to be one path where these projects pertaining to Andrews were registered. I mean, were submitted, right?
Right.
Okay. So according to Gab News right here, you see his submission website access. McClary also expressed concern. And so apparently he reached out to Walt Ackerman. And here is the answer. And that Walt Ackerman, the liaison between the county and the committee, is in charge of granting permission to access the portal. He told Gab News he felt the fact that Stamper is a town council member made it okay to give him access to the portal. The commission made it known at several meetings that the way for a member of the public to have their project idea submitted was to either go through the administration of a sponsoring entity or go through their council member.
Well, perhaps that part may have been discussed at the one meeting I missed.
Whoa. At all the other meetings that you were there, how many of these meetings did
and you can go back and I think they have them all. I'm sorry, what was the question?
They got them online. How many of those meetings did Councilman Stamper attend?
Just one, and that was the one that was handled. That was here in Andrews, the first one that was handled here in Andrews, and we all were just there trying to figure out, because I think this was one of the second one or the third one, I think, in the series of meetings they had here. So it was only one, and then of course, nothing was laid out. That's when they were trying to figure out how to get to where they are now. So it was very early in the process.
He kept saying in the meeting that he talked with you, that you knew. What was he trying to imply? What was he trying to imply there?
Well, what he was trying to imply, in my opinion, is that he got permission to submit this, and that couldn't be further from the truth. we all know the process is bringing these things to the council, which we did. I mean, think about it now. The council, to include this council member and the other, were present when we voted on the 21st. So there's no confusion on how the projects were to be submitted or approved. We all voted on the 5 projects. It's that simple. So then to find that there's a 6th project submitted several days after the council, the body voted on it, was very surprising. Now, was I aware that they were working on something? Yes. And as I said during the meeting, I said there was a I don't know where we were, but he mentioned to me in passing that he was working with the county to try to come up with this thing. There was a piece of land that may be available for $80,000, which the town doesn't have $80,000 to buy, to purchase a piece of land for this structure. And I told him then that I was very apprehensive about any conversation with that entity at this point. And I told him then I would keep an open ear. The next step, that was the end of that conversation. And so when we voted on, and so then that's not an approval process. I hear what you're saying. I don't trust it, but I'll listen. And so on the 21st, we all as a body brought the projects forward. Now at that time on the 21st, if they wanted to add another, project to that list of 5, that could have been done right at the council meeting, and then we would have voted. And those who was in support of that, it would have been a done deal. But they came there knowing and voting that these were the 5 projects, and then several days later submitted another. That's disingenuous, and it's undercutting the process. And as the attorney said, it does. Think about it. We're sitting here in over 2 years in litigation with a building that is already designed for a state-of-the-art fire department. I mean, it's brand new concept, but will accommodate all things we have. So it wouldn't make sense to the people, and that was my concern when I was told by the reporter that there was a project on the list that's addressing the same thing that we're in litigation for. It didn't make sense. It would confuse the people.
$6.5 million, by the way.
$6.5 million, which is more than the building that we have, and that's only addressing one department.
Yeah.
So none of that really makes sense. And so then the purpose for the emergency meeting, because I knew it was going to be a media crazy, frenzy when it comes out, because it was already published. And I said, okay, let's meet with the council, make everybody aware that we're about to have a public relations nightmare because of this situation. And then, of course, you were there and you videoed the whole thing. You heard the whole discussion. Scott's report in Gab does not do the entire meeting justice. I think it's designed to keep us at each other's throat, but I'm not mad at anyone. I'm just going to follow the correct process. I'm disappointed that we have done this because it makes us look like we are divided, and we are not following procedures and protocol in this respect. And we didn't have to do that. What we all should be doing is coming together, because we even divided on the building. So then it just didn't make sense to do that, and it caused this kind of a reaction. And you can't get around people. I mean, it's you makes us a laughing stock. You just don't do that. And so
and I mean, it's the taxpayers who's going to pay for this building. Ultimately, it's going to come out of the taxpayers of Georgetown County pocket.
Now, as I told them, if this is something, the other thing that concerned me is that this was a conversation between a few people, not decision makers. So I am still waiting. And as I told them, I will reach out to Miss Angela Christian to see whether they're in agreement to build this building. Because if they want to build it and we occupy it, I'm fine with that. Now, it won't make sense because, again, you have a 3,300 square foot. No, it's bigger than that. I forgot, 33,000. Whatever it is, I go back and look at it. You have one that accommodate all of our equipment and give them the ability to operate inside in terms of maintenance inside and stay out of the inclement weather, and just a state-of-the-art facility. But I mean, we're in a lawsuit. It's like many lawsuits. I mean, anything else, you just got to wait and be patient. Meanwhile, we have created, build a building to occupy these, or to house these engines. And so we're not where we want to be, but they're not sitting out in the element. And I would argue that putting them all in one spot is a good idea. Understanding the guy who's putting who's planning operations, and understand that the more dispersed, because again, you don't know where the fire could happen. It could be on the far end of time, but if you got an engine there, whoever responds, they can take that engine in now. So it's not an argument, it needs to be had. It's kind of immaterial. But the thing is, we should not have taken this path because it doesn't do well for us looking like a unified council. And so I'm not mad. Scott can put this thing out here like, he wants to create this fight between me and the council member. No, it's just that we're not on the same sheet of music with respect to this, the action that was taken. I'm just not. And it is not a fight. So, I see the whole, and I understand the media. I get it. You want to create attention to draw people there but it keeps the community divided. And so I can never be a media guy because I would never do that. But it is what it is.
And I mean, I respect your position, but Stamper and whoever he's working with, they put the town in this position. They put it. They provided the optics. You know what I mean?
In all fairness, you're right.
If me, and I've been saying, oh, these people ain't this and that. This is the good old boy system. Again, Walt Ackerman, he actually published that he actually felt like that was a good enough answer.
But let me tell you why. And again, back to that point, I told them along the way, and if they bring out the recordings, I told them they need to be very clear on who can submit. I was really speaking for the unincorporated community, because if the council members, again, you have 3 municipalities: Town of Andrews, City of Georgetown, Town Pawleys Island. So you theoretically have a staff that could pull all this information together. It's the places like the rest of the county that doesn't. So I told them, I said, you have to identify if it's the council member. In this case, if it's Everett that's pulling things together for the rest of District 3 and submitting that to the respective department in Georgetown County. So if it's a public works thing, it would go to Ray Funny. Parks and Recs, it would go to Beth Goodall. You can't leave the people out there responsible for this level of detail. They don't have that. It will never get submitted. It will never compete with the rest of them. They never identify an avenue for people to submit. So then I'm not surprised that other people have been submitting projects because they didn't lock it down. That's the only fault I found with this commission. And the other thing too, he could have picked up the phone and said, "Hey, Mayor, I know you've been coming to all the meetings. Is this one of your projects?" And we could have addressed that then.
I mean, that's common sense. That's too much like common sense.
We both have each other's number. We've been working well together, but so that leaves it open to people speculating, was this an backdoor intentional?
People like me.
I understand. And you ain't the only one. So it's just something we got to go through. It's unnecessary. And you're right. I should not blame Scott. Scott's, we gave them.
Whoa. Sounds like I'm defending Scott in here now.
Yeah, you did. Well, no. You defended what you guys do, whether it's the podcast or whether it's, social media.
No doubt. Because this guy, to me.
So my apologies, Scott. He just reported.
To me, it looks like sabotage. It looks like what the lawyer said. If I'm a taxpayer, it don't, you know what I mean? Like what's going on? I thought, you guys were,
but here's the other part to that. No one ever, this conversation that we had, no one ever said that, hey, look, I have access to the portal and I'm going to submit this project. That never was said. I could have said, oh, no, you don't do that. We stick with the one that we already voted on. So you look at the elements of this situation and you can draw some conclusion. I refuse to. I don't want to get into a battle with other members. It's just that I've stated, that we were going to come to this point. That's why we had the emergency meeting, because I didn't want the rest of the council members to be blindsided, and I wanted them to know here's what's coming. Now, how we got here, it's not very difficult to figure out.
No, and again, it supports my argument from the beginning. The whole dog and pony show put on by Councilman Raymond Newton and Everett Carolina in acting as if they wanted to disband this commission. I felt like the fact that they left, they didn't have a point person for Andrews, and then then here we are with this. It's crazy. And
yeah, well, we know that was a sideshow. That was a horrible sideshow that they put on at that council meeting. I have zero confidence in those guys' interest in the well-being of Andrews. So I'm done with them. So we have to defend for ourselves, and then when we fall apart as a council or as a community, then the people have nothing left. So as we talked about earlier, there's going to be some that will come along and be a part of the solution, and there's going to be some determined to be a part of the problem.
That's just going to be determined a part of the problem.
I
was sitting here
and track them. You tag them and track them.
Even here tonight, right? This person right here, I try to tolerate this person, Sabrina or whatever.
Whatever
this I blocked him a while back because he's saying post the evidence. And
what evidence?
I mean, the damn council meeting was evidence enough.
You did a piece on that. So I don't understand what she's talking about.
But that goes to Ms. Wilson's point. You got some people that are willfully, ignorant. Like this person doesn't want to, you know what I mean? Like
she's never been on board for whatever reason. That's okay. I still love her and want to and wish her the best. But I'm just not going to let those kind of people, again, you tag them and track them and move on.
Yeah, and see that's because you're you're well polished. I'm not skilled like that. Like you come over here picking with me, and I'm gonna pick with you. You feel what I'm saying? I'm just gonna tell you straight up and down. I'm not that civilized. You know what I mean? Because I'm sitting here and I'm just saying in my mind, like, what is it in a person? When you ignoring them and they decide, and it's always the same story. As soon as you put that pressure on them, oh, I'm sorry. And at that point, it's just, it's
because they deep down inside, there's something that troubles them with working with certain people that they don't want to talk in public.
It comes down to race. I mean, that's what I was saying about last night. To me, in my opinion, the decision that Stamper and them made was based on just some old, we're gonna do what we want to do. You ain't gonna stop us. We're smarter than you. This how I interpret it, because it made no sense. We all know if you're a part of an organization, this is not I do what I want to do. You know what I mean? You got to vote by committee in any kind of situation. At work, you can't even make if you work with a group of people and they want to make some kind of changes, sometimes they'll bring it to the crew. Like, hey, how do you guys feel about this? Should we do this or should we? But
listen, that's what I tell people. I think the facts get clouded with a lot of discussion or snapshots that you'll see in social media. It's simple. There was a list of 5 projects presented to the body. There was only one council member not present, and that was Councilman Altman. So when that vote was done, the people we talked to, everybody was there and voted on it. That was the opportunity. They said, hey, we want to add this one. And then we could have had that conversation. That's it. That's as clear as it is. That's what Mayor Pro Tem asked. The simple question: why didn't you present this to this body before you submitted it? Simple question. Nobody made no accusations. Nobody made no nothing. He asked the simple question: why did you not? And he never answered that question. He got to talking about, the EMS situation in town, and everybody's talking about it, and everybody's talking about it except him.
Okay, and he's in better position than most to speak on it. But has he come and spoke at county council? Has he met with the administrator? Obviously, he meets with Brandon Ellison and them, but they don't talk about it.
It's not a concern.
But you decide I'm going to take $6.5 million of the taxpayers' money, right? Because that's essentially what you would be doing, okay?
Mhm.
And building a building. What you want to get your name on the building? You want that? You know what I mean?
But here's the other thing that, again, Mr. Ackerman can he said what he said, but the bottom line is you just question the integrity of this commission. You just put a process that was going well by hey, it's an elected official, by throwing your hands up and not taking responsibility. You just put this entire process, in my opinion, in question. So, and we going about that. I'm a supporter of sale tax, penny sale tax. I think it's a great tool if it's used fairly and impartially. Unfortunately, we have some bad scars, but I've been right there with them. Anyone they can ask you. Been very supportive. I offered my input, whether it was accepted or not. In most cases, it was. And so then that gave me the confidence that we were moving in the right direction. Now all I have to do is pay attention to how it's being scored. And that's where we were until this hiccup. So, but then when you have a situation that we've been battling for the last several years, this shakes my confidence that behind closed doors, when these things are racked and stacked, Brother Andrews is going to get a fair shake. And that's what I was trying to avoid. And it's simple things like this that will kill an entire process.
For me, it's the arrogance. That answer is blatant arrogance. That again, and it's
hey, but check it out. The thing is, and there's no consequences. We've dealt with this before. This building that they brought down over here without proper permitting, that put a whole town, a community at risk because of the busted gas line. Not one disciplinary action.
There's no respect for the leadership there. There's no respect for Angela Christian, who is ultimately this falls at her feet.
No consequences.
Because,
but now we're about to go into a conversation about local option sales tax.
Man, you must be reading my notes, because I got somebody asked me a question about that today. And luckily, we've been talking about that, and they were saying that they heard about the 71% that's supposed to be going to the people and spread out to the people, and then I had to break down I said, well, that leaves 29%. So what happens to the 29%? Well, I don't know. Well, that goes to Georgetown County, and
it goes to the county council for their use.
Yes, and what are their plans for it?
So you do the math.
They don't have no designated plans for it.
Right. So 29% of a projected $80 to $100 million, and again, one slip up like this in the system cause questioning in all the other, the questioning intentions of this body or that body.
And that when the person brought that question up about the loss, I had to call her attention to the situation where the sheriff, and in my opinion, my words, strong-armed the council into giving him another $1 million on his budget to hire officers that don't exist, and that's why the millage rate was doubled, and because that person was like, man, the taxes went up, but they said they're going to give us this to offset the taxes. I mean, it's like, not that you came to Scott's, but in the sheriff's defense, he's the guy that knows best what his department needs. Now, and if he come to, and it's like anything, it's like the process we have here for budget. The department head comes in with all of this, they want everything. That's natural.
but it's the decision makers and the person who is sitting, you know, the council to look at this thing and see how do we spread this money the right way. So then, in defense of the sheriff, if you're going to fall to my demands and not do your due diligence to see exactly what I need, then I'll take all the money you can give me.
Well, he did that.
That's what he's supposed to. He's fighting for his department. I expect the same thing. I told the department heads here, because we know we've already got their first submission, and it's far beyond our budget. My thing to them, okay, don't make me make the tough decision. So they're going to have to, if our budget is $4 million and now I have requests up to $6 million, then obviously something's going to have to be cut because I got to balance this budget. And so we'll go back and forth and we'll say, okay, what do you really need? Here's what you can get. And then we'll call it in. We've always had success, but again, in the sheriff's defense, you're going to get it all. Here's what I want. Since you guys are the purse holders, here's what I need. I'm the expert at it. Give it to me. But what they should have done is going back and do the analysis and see exactly where these monies are going. They didn't do that. And they gave it to him, and I said high five to the sheriff.
No doubt, as a part of that strong arm, this happened back in May when he said right there, the Georgetown County Council clearly has no understanding or a plan to address the public safety needs of Georgetown County. And that was on the Georgetown County Sheriff Department's Facebook page.
And and that's what he was elected to do, is to build that force and provide the protection, and him being the expert sitting in that seat. But again, we as people who are managing the budget have to look at it and said, okay, well, we can give you this year, and you're going to have to, use your ingenuity or whatever the case may be to make up the difference.
But I mean, again, so to your point, the fact that, to the sheriff's point, I guess he was correct in what he said when he said this, because they don't know. That's why they gave up that $1 million, and they did not do the due diligence to see. They just forked up the money.
Not only that, double the millage, gave $1 million, and then $65 million for the detention center.
For the detention center. Hey,
kudos to the sheriff. Hit the jackpot.
Yeah.
So
hey,
I can't.
I was supposed to shot this brother out here a long time ago in this thing. It's going to be a familiar face, but me and this gentleman is going to do a podcast together. And for those of you who listening, this is a Christian-based podcast that I'm about to send you guys to. All right, let me play his promo here real fast.
Here with a preview of I'll Say It For You for Monday, April 15th, podcast number 30. You know, woke has gone wacky when standing up for Christian values cost you your job. That's what happened to one North Carolina woman who refused to be intimidated and paid the ultimate price with termination. We'll have the fallout from that and more in part 4 of When Woke Goes Wacky. Monday, April 15th, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Facebook Live on the I'll Say It For You podcast page.
So that's the I'll Say It For You. That's Brian Hayward.
Should be interesting.
Yeah. I'll Say It For You podcast. You guys make sure you go over there and follow him. His name is Brian Hayward, but it's called I'll Say It For You, the podcast. Go over there and check that out. Again, I'm gonna have him on because I'm listening to that. He's up to 4 parts into that lesson, and I like his perspective. And then he gives he gives you everything from a biblical perspective. So, but I apologize, Brian. I've been supposed to get that in there, man. But I'm gonna keep it real with you. We was hitting tonight. We was dropping some bombs in here tonight. The information is flowing now. But real fast, back to this capital project sales tax. So this meeting now, is this the process where they start eliminating these projects?
No, what they're doing now is because even though you submitted a ton of information, some of it is not clear to them. and they'll have a dialogue with the agency who submitted this for clarification. And so again,
Okay.
and again, and
So
again,
that's what.
yeah.
So that's what they're doing now. They're going to come to Andrews and talk about the 4 projects. Well,
Yes.
yeah, the 4. Okay.
It's a sticky situation. I know the question you want to ask.
Yeah, because we could have just had a representative, and this wouldn't even be a conversation, in my opinion. This wouldn't even be a conversation. The representatives that you guys put forth way more qualified educational wise than Rob Stamper. I'm just going to put that out there. That's just facts. So you wouldn't take them, but then you will accept a whole proposal, $6.5 million, by the way, from this gentleman. It stinks.
Now, I'll defend these guys where it's deserving. Now they have done a good. Now I don't know what happens away, which is important to have somebody on the commission, but at the meetings, these members that are representatives from these different places, they just look. They're not representing the project, at least not there. So then, in the case last week, the administrator from the city of Georgetown and his public works, and I think the engineer or somebody like that, was there to give clarification because they are the ones that submitted. Like in this case, it's my name on the project or the administrator, and so then we will be there to clarify anything that may be of question. And again, to their credit, they want to make sure they understand this thing. So when they start to scoring it, it's actually going to get the proper score based on the criteria and not them guessing. And so my experience with the commission, they have not shown any favoritism towards the project, not in my presence.
Because I get what you're saying. The commission, the body itself, the commission that they formed really has no dog in the fight. They pretty much just kind of taking the information in and then presenting it to the council. Yes.
Now, we all know that there are sidebars and there's conversations having outside the presence of the public. That's where it would be valuable for someone to be on from Andrews that says, okay, no, I know what they need. I'm from there, and here's my input. We don't have that. And so when you get a lot of discussion back and forth, you start to sometimes you will leave your zone to then become an advocate for a project if you're not careful. I have not seen that in the public, so I give them credit for that. But I'm not taking my eyes off of this process because, again, the foundation has been shaken, in my opinion.
Obviously, I mean that's
I mean, just let's be straight up and let's talk about it as leaders of this community and let the vote. That's what it's. Let the vote make the call. I mean, we had a unique opportunity here. At the beginning of this process, as opposed to when I came in, the process was already done and locked in. So now it was just about laying it out. See, here we had the opportunity to shape it, but we blew that. What just happened is pretty much caused some you've shaken the confidence in the process and in the people. That's just what has happened, and it wasn't necessary.
I mean,
you have to take responsibility. All this thing, a lot of the conversation we had at the meeting had nothing to. It is you voted on this, but you did this. It's that simple.
Yeah.
You're out of pocket.
That's simple. Wow, that's the simple part. It's not complicated. It's not they didn't know. They
I had
was
conversations with other people about the sales tax and what they like to see. They didn't go and get access to the portal and submitted a project. They understood that these things will come through the council. get a majority vote. In this case, it was unanimous.
And that's the part. Like, so when you say, you know, your signature on there, your signature has to be on there because you have to be the one to sign.
Yeah, that's my
But in
role.
this process, I want to stress again that the council and the 4 projects that were selected, the council was involved in the selection process.
Yeah, it's documented. That's, you know, for you the minutes, for you the, you know, whatever. If someone said, "Where's the evidence?" It's at the meeting where, you know, where you're invited.
That person,
Open
she
doors.
don't want the evidence. She just,
And so,
she's a
but
jerk.
the people involved know this. Come on now. I'm not going to get in again. I'm not going to get into a public fight. It is what it is. We have to deal with it, and we'll move on. But McClary didn't do anything wrong. The body didn't do anything wrong or questionable. We brought it and had a lengthy discussion about these projects.
And
when I realized what was going on, I said, no, I'm not going to attend any meetings because we've already made a decision. So why are we talking about this? You know, now all of a sudden they want to make the strong mayor thing something that is not designed for.
yeah, I heard that came up.
Yeah, you got to understand what strong mayor form of government. I can't override six other opinions unless it's unless it's a safety, an immediate safety risk to life, limb, or whatever the case may be.
I don't think I mean I you know, I could be wrong, but I'm not sure that Councilman Urich really understands what that means. I think when they hear Mayor Strong, I think it's offensive to him. I think they think, oh, this man, he you know, and I don't know. It's not a good look, but you know, we'll
I think
kind of get through it.
Yeah, well, I think when we all understand how these things work, as we talked about earlier with the party chairs, understand all aspects of how it works, really get into it, then we would be less likely to make, you know, inflammatory comments with no basis, with no facts. You see, and that's why I say, you know, freedom of speech is great, but sometimes some people need to be muzzled.
Listen,
I mean, this thing is hurting us, just social media, when we're just talking and making acquisition without really looking at things or saying, you know, come on, man, it's right here in the open. Let's just dig into it. If we're really serious about representing this whatever entity that it is, learn how it functions, as opposed to assuming because you've done something for X amount of years doesn't make it right. You could be doing it wrong for those amount of years. Just because you've been doing it that one way, no, read, it's in the book. That's where we all can meet on the level ground. And I try my best to make sure I'm well informed when I make decisions. As I said during that time, when it comes down to safety or anything else, or the management of these people's tax dollars, I take that very seriously. And I'm not going to play games with it. I'm not going to be bullied off of what right is. That's just not who I am. So we can get it together. There's some healing has to happen. And, but in the meantime, we got work to put in, and that's my focus. I'm not here to manage anyone's soft feelings.
No doubt. So again, where's this meeting going to be held at on Wednesday?
Library, Andrews Library.
Okay. Yep, Andrews Library. Yep. So they had a virtual meeting today.
Yeah, today to avoid conflict with the county council meeting.
Oh, okay. So I probably can. I'll go back and watch that on YouTube. Georgetown County side. Yeah, that'll be on YouTube.
Yeah.
All right. And then they got after Andrews. Then they got April 18th.
See, and as I expressed to these guys, they have a lot of hard work to do, but they have less time with these projects who was really, you know, making some tough decisions, and then they give it to the council, who's the council is going to have it longer than them, and their only role, as they explained to me, is just to go through the 3 readings and approve what they give them. allegedly they don't have the authority to reorganize or reprioritize the projects, which is good, but it's a little bit unfair to this commission that they have such a short time frame. So they're moving these meetings up and they're doing virtual now to get caught up, to take a hard look at every one of these, because again, tough task. You got $100 million projected. You got over $200 million worth of projects.
Yeah, right now as it stands is what's that
Okay.
number? 210,777,356 dollars.
707. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yep. And so these things have to go somewhere. So then the strength of your packet and their understanding of it should put you in a good position to be funded. And the other thing we have to watch for in this thing is that I think monies is already kind of earmarked for a certain thing. So then we may not see, these projects until 4 or 5 years down the road.
Are you able to see the level of detail in each entity submission?
You would have to have access to the portal to see everybody's stuff, I believe. I don't know if I have access to see everybody. I never looked, but we have ours. We have the details. I'm told that it was, they were well written, and so we'll see how they stack up. So we'll have that conversation on Thursday. And I'm not sure if there's intent to get clarification on a few things and then go right into the scoring, because they're going to have to start doing that soon, and they may have already.
When are they scheduled to turn this over to the council?
I believe it's the 1st of May, somewhere in there. Somewhere, I know it's before the 5th, and I don't know if they've changed the date, but it's posted. I just don't know, but they don't have a whole lot of time, so that's why they now are doing virtual and still doing the in person as they circulate through the county.
I gotcha.
So it's going to be tough, and it's going to be, and then again, they're working hard to try to make sure that people are in support of this thing. So all this hard work could fall flat on its face if people don't have confidence that this is the right thing, this money is going to the right place. As you recall, last time, this thing passed on a very, very slim margin. So that's where we are.
No doubt. All right, Amir, I'm gonna let you get out of here. I hear your voice starting to crack.
Oh, I got I have my coffee, my water, and but this is a result of those the bridge run, and then I rode my bike yesterday 6 miles. So
No doubt.
But I'm good. So and here's the thing. So all this is going on. It clouds all of the good stuff that's happening in the town. We've got roads being paved. We got sidewalks going in, business is still coming, all that stuff. You see the work that's going on at the intersection here. They're actually moving that power box that's been knocked over so many times by the big trucks when they turn in at the red light at Morgan in Maine. They've just moved that to the other side, and then I think they put in higher poles that raise the wires. You got Ebenezer's situation that is on the move. We're going to reach out to them and see when they're going to put that light in. Police officers are getting certified. It's just a lot of good things going on, but it gets over. It gets pushed to the side because of this nonsense. But we will continue to move forward. Again, we'll tag them and track them, and we keep going.
No doubt. Where we at? Yeah, but that's about all I got for tonight, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, because I'm gonna cut this up into two different things, But I want the people to get the proper information when it comes to what's going on. I don't want too much misinformation to reach their ears with in regards to this whole situation.
Yeah, but everything is in plain view. Minutes, audio, your work that you've done. So I'd encourage people to, if you're real bothered by it, take your time and look at those things and go back to the last meeting and see how the process worked, and then you'll see how the process was disrupted.
No doubt. All right, so listen, I want to end on this right here. What are your thoughts? South Carolina brought that thing home 38-0. They sealed the deal. As they were saying, the revenge tour is over. Any thoughts on the national championship game?
Well, first of all, big shout out to Coach Don Staley and her team, that amazing team. Not just this year. You look at their track record. So that's 3 national championships dating back 2017 and to the present. A lot of debate about the young lady, Caitlin Clark, and the press and the attention that she's getting. I think it's well deserved, but you have to have, again, that same energy to recognize the feats, the accomplishments of this amazing team here. And of course, you don't even have to be biased being from South Carolina to give these ladies credit. And so we need to spend more time on that, but we don't need to alienate any of these young people who are out there playing. And I told one friend of mine that I remember when Michael Jordan was Michael Jordan the entire time, but Michael Jordan wasn't winning championships when he first got in there. But he was still performing at a level that was unbelievable, just capturing and filling stadium auditoriums, arenas that could barely fill them during their home games. And meanwhile, Detroit Pistons, winning back-to-back championships, but they're not getting any love. So this is not the first time. And I was one of those Jordan fans, still is. But so we got to understand what's happening. Have an appreciation. I know we're a lot, get emotional, and a lot of emphasis, drawn from this thing. But you cannot deny what these Lady Gamecocks have done. The best team in the country. I mean, they 38-0 or 39 or whatever the case may be, came back and beat the team that defeated them last year. 38. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let's get into the numbers. And then sometimes you can be really good and it just goes right by people. They expect it, and then they see this new phenomenon. And that's where we'll kind of go, because again, Caitlin did some amazing things individually and as a team.
Mm-hmm. But
what I like,
defensively, that young lady made a name for herself.
Was it Jackson?
No, what was the name?
See, here we go. We don't even have a name down.
Yeah. She shut Caitlin down for 3 quarters. That first quarter was bananas.
She was lights out.
Yeah, and they made the adjustments, and they
and that's the credit to a brilliant coach.
Yeah,
he did that, not even having to go into the halftime to adjust her game plan. That was on the spot.
And at the end of the game, if you remember, she Raven Johnson. There you go. I knew it was coming. At the end of the game, she shouted out one of her assistant coaches, whoever laid out the game plan, because she said that person laid that game plan out so simple, and that once they laid it out, everybody knew exactly what to do. Because again, the girl's a generation type player, but that's just great player versus great team wins. Most of the time, every once in a while, a great player will pull one off, but the South Carolina game.
Dawn is the best in the game. Yeah, and she prepared for. She was 9 deep, at least 9 deep. You could see Caitlin at the end of the first quarter. She was gasping for air. Because their game plan apparently was to just run and gun.
Yep, and they and so LSU was nowhere near as deep as South Carolina, and that's where and the shooting was a difference. Full Wiley and Tessa, I forget the other young lady name, shot that ball. They shot that ball. Because last year they were backing off Raven. They were backing off like, shoot, you know what I mean? And she said that she went through it, emotionally and all of that through that whole period and came back and turned it around.
But it says something too about us, man, as a whole, as South Carolinians. We're divided with Clemson and Carolina. My thing is, this is the team, if this is the only team that's left that's representing South Carolina, we all should have rallied behind them. But we're not doing that. You see people even from this state not supporting this amazing run that Staley and her team has done. So we're in a place in this, right now, that we're going to have to really check ourselves individually and as a community, local and statewide. Why is it? I mean, come on now, let's talk. I mean, those are the things. This thing is prevalent and very visible in everything we do: politics, sports, you name it. We got to have opposition, and not realize it's tearing away the fabric of the state.
Yeah,
we can't even agree that there's hate crime. We can't pass a hate crime bill, but we can pass, open carry, and anybody from 18 can carry a gun. Come on, make it make sense. You got to look at this thing holistically, man. So I'm not surprised. Huh?
Welcome to South Carolina.
We got to change that, man. I'm not accustomed to this kind of just division.
Yeah, so, and I mean it's going to ramp up here as we move.
No, it's going to get ugly. But Don, big shout out. Yeah, they are the best. I don't care how you chop it up. They're the best.
Yeah, hands down, best team. You know what I mean? Across the board.
Yeah,
I think they had one scare this year. One scare that I remember when they almost lost in the tournament to Tennessee, and Cardoso hit that 3-pointer to give them that victory. But other than that, it was
and you know what, that was a not just a game changer. Obviously, they won the game, but I think it put in the minds of people that this is their destiny.
Oh, it was a refocus game. It was that game that everybody talks about. Oh, they need to lose one game, but they got that that was that refocus game. That was that game down the stretch when things kind of getting and they felt, oh man, we almost lost, and it refocused them right on through the tournament.
So let me ask you this again. So what do you think the tears that you saw this coach break down? What do you think was behind that?
Don Staley, the breakdown. What was behind that? I
mean, she's done this multiple times.
I think her heart was ripped out from her last year. I think that loss last year. I really think that. I think it really did something to her, and so, plus having that scare at Tennessee. You know what I mean? I just think I think to be able to come back and beat the team that took you out the year before, I think it was just one of them basketball moments. It came back full circle. You know what I mean? You got one of the greatest teams ever playing against one of the greatest players ever. With one of the greatest coaches ever, and I think she just kind of.
I'll give you my assessment. I think that's some of it. But when you have been great that long, doing all these things, all the success, and you're still not recognized. And so it was them against the world. I mean, you look at the entire time, it wasn't about this team who was just undefeated. They got a lot of press when they won that game in the last second. Other than the local followers and those kind of business, it wasn't a constant. You go back and look at ESPN and some of the others. It's the same thing we deal at this level. When you got, you don't get the credit, and you should at least be recognized if you're doing these amazing things. She's not asking for it. So they're just performing. And I'm telling you, a lot of that, and I heard I said in one of the later on in one of the press conferences about being, not being, getting the credit. Not her girls. She is a genuine leader that cares about all this. But again, when you're doing all these things, you're like, man, well, everything you're talking about is about an individual performance. When you start to peel the onion back, and I think,
and I mean, just today, the media is still dominated by,
yeah. And I think the young lady will do well. She'll learn. I mean, when you go to the next level,
I don't think she would do well. I don't think she'll do well in the NBA, WNBA.
Well, the thing is too, when you stand out like that, people come for you.
Yeah,
they come for you. They come hard. I did see some.
I think that's going to be to their detriment. I think because she has the ability to come and take the game to another level as far as fan viewership, a whole new another audience, but I don't know. That game
I think she's going to do well. She'll learn her lessons, but she's just really good. She's a great passer. Now defense, you're going to have to work on that. But you're talking about can get you a bucket from anywhere on the court. Great passer, so she got vision, she can see it, but it's a team sport. And you're going to have other people that want
that WNBA game is more tailored to her style of play.
Yeah, she's gonna do well
because it's the spacing, the floor's spacing. And I'm thinking she's not going to do well for other reasons. I think the weight of it all, it's one thing carrying Iowa, but it's going to be exciting for first couple months. You know what I mean? And then it's we'll see. But yeah,
I'll put my money.
I look forward to seeing it, but I just don't think it's gonna.
Yeah, but I also put my money on the.
We'll check back after. Who that?
I said I put my money on the others. I mean, Don Staley again. This was 5 new starters.
No doubt. Yeah, the old big Cardosa. I want to see how she. She's gonna have to become a little more athletic. When she get to the WNBA, you know what I mean? But she's young, so she's got some time.
She's gonna meet those other 6'7", 6'8".
Yeah, it won't be as easy as it was the other night. You know what I mean? Because they could have just kept feeding her all night. It was just she was too big, too strong,
and they leverage it. So again, shout out to these ladies. All right, my friend. Again, appreciate the platform.
No doubt, man. I'll be in the area Thursday, so I want to catch up with. See how
I'm sure with all this hype, it'll probably be standing room only, and hopefully people, come in to see and listen, because I don't think it's not a dialogue with the people like it was before. It's between the presenters and the commission to get clarity so they can do their business.
No doubt.
And we don't need to make this some big fight.
No doubt.
But we'll see you then.
All right, you hold it down. I will talk to you later this week.
Yes, sir. Have a good one, man.
All right. Yep. All right. So, man, I keep hitting this. I gotta get me change this cord out. This is a cheap cord, and when I hit it, the mic goes out. But anyway, good show tonight. Again, shout out to the Democratic chairs from Williamsburg and Georgetown County. Look forward to having more conversation with them about what it is they do. But I'm gonna leave you all with this one. It's a reoccurring nightmare where drugs are being discovered inside the confines of Georgetown County Detention Center. This time it involves an inmate by the name of Lorenza Neesmith. You see him pictured here on the screen. Neesmith allegedly attempted to bring fentanyl into the jail, prompting a thorough search by deputies. Despite initial denials and searches yielding nothing, a subsequent discovery shocked authorities. A tiny 0.33 grams, it's like a half a gram, of suspected heroin was found hidden in Neesmith's sock, raising grave concerns about the integrity of the facility's security protocols. This incident follows closely on the heels of Kelly Lambert, pictured on the screen, her arrest for smuggling fentanyl into the same facility, resulting in the tragic loss of life of this young lady right here, 23-year-old Shelby Ashby, who paid the ultimate price. The fallout from this whole situation was swift, and this other lady was also injured in that situation. But the fallout was swift. There was a termination of the administrative staff within the detention center. But as authorities grapple with yet another drug-related and a need for systemic reform, tragedy, questions looms about the efficacy of security measures at Georgetown County Detention Center. Continue to follow Andrews the podcast. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more updates on other pressing issues. Until the next time, stay informed, stay safe.